Hi everyone, I'm recording this video because I was watching some water distilling units out there, and then I came with a thought in additional implementation for these crock pots. Wait, are they crock pots? No, I'm it's not a crock pot. Fucking the water distilling machine. And a lot of people rig up their own with a heating plate, any type of heating plate, coffee, electric cooking pan, coffee maker, or whatever, But all it is is a pattern, and basically, like, say 4 rows this way, like vertically, and then swapping or churning that vertical lines and creating an additional layer on top with four more rods, but churning them 90 degrees so they're still horizontal, but they're over the other ones, and creating like a kind of like a screen or a fence. Like if you stood it up, people wouldn't be able to walk through it, that type of thing. But then repeating that sequence multiple times to stack up that it'll be like a cube or a triangle. Then what you would do is place that inside of the dirty water, inside the water distiller, and maybe it could be made out of stainless steel. And I believe that it would expedite the distilling process, but it would have to be tested. And obviously I don't have any money and time to be doing all that. But I seen one online. This guy, what he did is he bought an electric one. He plugged it in, and he timed it. He said it took 4 hours. Then he preheated the water as a test to see what would happen. He timed it again, and it was finished after 3 hours and 30 minutes. So it saved him 30 minutes of wait time. And this produced 1 gallon of distilled water. So if this stacked or like say very porous block of or cube of stainless steel were added into the first step of the distilling process, where the dirty contaminated water might be, or sink water, faucet water, or even whatever type of water for the distillation process, right? And there's a lot of YouTube videos on how to clean these units out with white distilled vinegar, or just using water and a few scoops or a few measured spoon of the white crystals of citric acid, and they basically fill it up, and they pour like 4 scoops of the concentrated acid inside the 1 gallon container and they fill it all the way up and they run it for a whole hour so it can get all the contaminants and all the dirty stuff out of it. And it doesn't require any type of scrubbing, and they do that every single month. So technically, that stainless steel cube thing, the porous cube thing, can be added in there if it proves to work, and obviously it will result in less water that you can put in there to accumulate for the stainless steel cube. But nevertheless, I believe it will expedite the process because my theory is that the stainless steel will get hot and retain the heat and really not allow that heat to escape, as it takes longer for the water itself to contain heat within itself. So I was thinking about that, and then I also thought, so that's another possibility. Then I saw another possibility, like maybe even inserting some concrete or a big, like say one of those things of salt in there. Like something, well, maybe the salt will crystallize up. So that probably wouldn't be the smartest way to go. But I was thinking about a salt preventative bridge, so the salt won't be able to climb over if there is any element that the salt is repellent or repelled from, or like where the salt won't like want to pass because of whatever reason. So more tests can be performed for that. And it would be great for water distilling from oceanic water, salt water. But like if someone poured even concrete, maybe like porcelain cement, or porcelain cement, since it could be porous a little bit, but either way, the cement is going to retain a lot of that heat within it. And when you pour the water in there, it's going to, I think, go into the pores of the concrete, and therefore allowing the water to create a lot more steam, and therefore distilling the water much rapidly, much faster. And I also seen one video where there was like a multi-level container, like multi-level containers for the, like kind of like a sewer or a septic tank, right? There's different containers. So once that steam goes in there, it could pass in the container. It could have an opening with a filter. So it will have a filter with a kind of like a lid, but I'm thinking more like a flat disc, kind of like a hard drive. And it will be inserted, and the water vapor won't be able to go anywhere except through that filter. And it'll be sealed, airtight, watertight. Then it'll pass that moisture into a third chamber, which will then go and pass through another filter. And then finally the third one, it'll have another filter. So the steam will have time to settle and eventually go out. So therefore reducing the amount of heat from escaping from the unit, and the water will get so hot and a lot of steam will be created, and it'll just start like blowing it out, you know, very fast, very, very fast. So yeah, my thoughts, my theories, my hypothesis, or whatever the fuck it's called. I never really learned the differences in school, but that's ignorance. So I need to learn, especially with all this invention shit that I think I know of, and I need to like really have, because even filing a patent, it has that same concept of like a science project. Well, you know, that a child might do, or you know, anyone really. Oh, my hypothesis is this, and this is my conclusion, and blah 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 blah. You know, and this is why I think we should do this way, do this instead of this other way. So I think that it would be good, because right now, what people are using is copper tubes. So the tubes, the copper tubes, are great because now we're not messing with like iron rods or like stainless steel. Like I think stainless steel will probably be the best approach, but even copper will work, because I've seen some designs where the container has an opening on the top, and then there's a coil of copper where the water goes through it down to the cooling, where the cool water goes and the fresh water goes to. And then I was even thinking, because there's some commercial water distillers out there, and I seen one video on YouTube where the water was getting heated up, going through the copper coils, but before it went down to the fresh water container, they had some valves up there which allowed water to circulate, and then it will go out. So it wasn't even a part of the unit. It was just acting as a cooling process. But I even think that shouldn't be where the copper coils are located. I think it should be at the very base, and around that water, but not in contact with the fresh water, just around that fresh water that just came out of the unit, and to go on there or in there. So this water, the fresh water, now fresh water, it's super hot from the process, but this other water around it, that heat from this water, the fresh water, will kind of go and get repelled and evenly distributed with the other water around it. So that's why I was thinking about that. And if you guys think about it, it could be like one big gallon container, and the water around it doesn't even have to circulate. It could be 10 gallons of water in a big old container that can be closed off, like with a lid, a container. So now you don't even have to exchange the water or anything. It will just be there to act as a cooling system, because the vapor is going to try to escape, is going to concentrate on the bottom, the fresh water, and then that is going to want to cool down. So there's a negative and a positive reaction. There's the heat, and then there's the cooling, the cold, right? So that will allow it to circulate smoother without using a pump to cool the water down. It will basically just cool the fresh water, and that will be sufficient to a certain degree. So those are my ideas on that. So I guess anyone can test it out, and if it works, then it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. It's worth a shot. It's a 50-50 chance that it will work, that it won't work. I don't know. But if someone wants more water distilled at a faster rate or whatever, then it would be worth, giving it a shot. And I honestly do not know what would be the best element or metal or whatever to put in there for the water, for the heat to, or for it to absorb the heat. I really don't know. So even that can be experimented on. Maybe even gold will be, because gold is a great conductor of heat. So even that would probably work. Throw some nuggets in there and let them heat up, and the water will evaporate much faster. I don't really know. I mean, that's also on the expensive side. But yeah, like even copper tubes or stainless steel tubes pointing up, like vertically, like a bunch of them, and soldered at the bottom, at the base of the container, pointing up. So when it gets hot, these rods will get hot along with the water, and it'll break up the water tension, and the water will hit the walls of the tubes and the container that is containing the overall water. Those walls, the water will be touching that, and that's what creates the gas, because it hits the sides, and then it dries up real fast because of the heat. So it dries up. When it dries up, it creates steam. So it breaks up that water tension. Now with soap, I'm not talking about gold panning. Fucking add some soap and it'll break up the water tension. I'm not talking about that type of tension. It's kind of water tension, but it's because we're putting that water in a container of whatever radius it might be. So say it's 6 inches or 12 inches all the way around. The water tensions around it is around that radius or whatever it might be. So by creating those rods or whatever, it'll allow the water to touch and have contact with more metal, which will then allow for more steam. Anyways,